video, we're going to take a look at a numerology forecast of the year 2021. Let's dive in. In a yearly forecast, we always look at a few parameters. But before I get into those different parameters, I just want to say one important thing. A numerology forecast does not really tell you exactly what's going to happen. So I always say to my students or clients that a numerology forecast is like a good weather report. It's going to tell you the general atmosphere, the general outline of events that are going to come, the general lessons that are entering into the picture, the doors that open and the doors that are closed. It cannot tell you exactly what amount of rain is going to pour, what shape the cloud is going to take. That's not really the job of a numerology forecast. It just wants to give you that kind of outline of where the events are going, where the winds are blowing, so you can align yourself and have a greater understanding of what's actually happening. Having said that, let us look at the few parameters we're going to cover in this video. So we're going to talk about the general energies of the year, okay? What this specific year of 2021 brings to our collective. What are the events? Again, not very, very specific, but what's going to be like the fragrance of the events? What is going to be like the general lesson of the event that we're going to experience all together as a collective? Collective feelings that are going to accompany the different events and the energy of this specific year. How are you going to respond to it as a collective, right? And the potential of this year, because this year is part of a cycle, right? And we want to see it in context. Where are we coming from and where are we going to? So let us go right into that. Okay, so 2021. As you can see here, 2021 sums up to number 5, which means that we are soon entering a global or universal year, number 5. That means that we're entering a time of dynamism, a time of change, a time of needing to adapt ourselves to changing circumstances. What does that mean in actuality? First of all, we have to understand that 5 is about experimentation that eventually leads to greater freedom. However, the 5 does not wait until things are perfect in order to try them out. This means that we should expect this year to experience on a global level. Remember, we're talking about the global year, universal year. It's not really personal events, it's global dynamics. That probably we're going to experiment with trying out different solutions for world problems, global problems, and this can be the pandemic, this can be our ecology, this can be politics, this can be social problems, economical problems, etc. We're going to try out new solutions. Whether these solutions are going to be ripe, we cannot know for sure. And the whole point about number 5, global year, is that number 5 is about taking risks. Number 5 is about jumping into the water and discovering after you jump, not before. It's not about finalizing and perfecting all the details before one tries out things. And that's the magic, but also the risky part of year number 5. So I already want to prepare you for a pretty intense year, okay? We're not past the intensity curve, so that's going to come probably, I would guess, like more towards 2022, 2023. So I do have a positive outlook, and I want to kind of encourage you to adopt this outlook on the progress of the years, but this is not yet where we stand. So now we're in this dynamic place and we have to be adaptable, we have to be flexible. This means that events for some of us this year are gonna feel like, yay, we're moving forward, we're trying out, we're experimenting, we're advancing. While for others, it's gonna feel a little bit like the carpet is swept under their feet. It's just gonna feel a bit too much, a bit too quick, a bit like they're not decided about it, yet the current is moving. So in that sense, we're still gonna find ourselves polarized, maybe even a little more polarized in humanity in that sense. But don't worry about it, because eventually, as I said already, 2023, 2022, 2023, we're already going to see a shift towards a bit of a more quiet, harmonious, self-reflected energy. But still, we have to go through this experimentation time in order, and that's the point, the key point about number 5, in order to find solutions. We're facing many world issues, many global problems, and we're not sure about what to do about them. But I think, and that's my interpretation of the numbers, is that We all want already to find solutions, but because we don't really know fully what's the right thing, we will have to experiment, we will have to try out whether we like it or not, whether everyone is agreed on that or not. This year is not gonna wait for all of us to agree, right? For better or worse. And we don't know for which side, right? And it doesn't really matter. So, but that's really the message. Eventually it's going to freedom. Eventually it's going to a more dynamic existence. Let's take a further look at 20 and 21 as two separate kind of parts. If you go back to my video of 2020, which you can also find on my channel here, you will see that I talked about the 20 energy as an energy of making decisions. That gives you kind of the space to decide, where am I standing? Am I standing more in the opening to the subtle, 2 and 0, opening to the more spiritual and sensitive side of reality, 2 and 0, or am I going to stay more conventional, which is like more the number 2, and the 2020, which summed up to a 4, etc., etc. So am I going to be more fluid, more adaptable, more aware, or am I going to choose more, the safety zone, the known, the traditional, etc.? That was 2020. It gave us that kind of space to kind of feel, where am I? Okay? But now we don't have any more that 2020, it's 2021. 1 is an energy of decisiveness. 1 is an energy of action moving forward. In a way, it's a little bit similar to the energy of number 5, because number 1 does not think too much about the results. It simply pierces through into new action, into new frontiers and new horizons, and discovers as it walks, as it goes. Now, the transition from a number 2 to a number 1 is not always the easiest transition, because 2 and 1 are the most disharmonious, 100%, 180 degrees opposing energies to one another. What does that mean in actuality? It means that we will have to make certain decisions whether we like it or not. We will have to pick a certain side, or we will have to kind of stand strong while things are moving. But we're not going to really be allowed to be on the fence anymore this year. This means that as a global community, remember, this is never a personal chart. It's going to have personal effects on all of us, but as a global human, we can say, we are going to eventually, although we are still going to really consider what is the right thing to do, 2 and 0, and again another 2, what is the right thing to do? Eventually we're taking action. That's number 1. Eventually we will take actions. Political, social, whatever, medical, for the pandemic, actions are going to be taken. Are we going to be fully ready for them? Are we going to feel, completely whole with our decisions? I doubt it. This will come later. I doubt it. And why? Because again, as I said, 2 and 1 are a bit of opposing energies. Even more so, 2 and 5. 5 and 2 are also a bit opposing. There's still not going to be the sense of harmony with what we're doing, but we will have to move. And that's kind of the message perhaps of this video. We are moving, we're deciding, we're trying, we're jumping into things, we're piercing into new frontiers, and we're going to discover it as we go. And that's the amazing and exciting and exhilarating part of this year, but also the challenging part of this year. So to me, the keywords I want to kind of point out to you is blend in, be flexible, don't be too rigid, okay? But adapt yourself to the changing circumstances. It's not about, I would say that we should learn not to rebel too much, not to resist too much. Resistance is more like the 4 energy, right? We want to flow. We want to flow. So decisions are going to be made. For some of us, it's going to be like, okay, I've made up my mind. As a collective, we feel like, okay, we know now where we're going. We've made a decision. Sometimes we're going to feel like it's very abrupt. It's almost like a forced decision. We're just forced to take a certain action this year in order to adapt with the changes and the requirements of the time, of the changing tides. So that's a little bit this part. Let us take a look further into the numbers. As you can see here, there's the 1st of January 2021, and I like to create a kind of additional calculation that reveals to me extra details about the year to come. I call this the temporary global heart number, or the temporary global life path. So it's a little bit like calculating one's life path, adding the day, the month, and the year. And here we're simply adding the day, month, and the personal year, the global year that we're all sharing, and eventually we come up with a 7. Now we have to look, in order to kind of derive meaning from that, we want to look at the 7 in conjunction with the 5 global year. So we have a temporary life path, or heart number, as I call it in my method that I use for numerology, and a 5 global year. What does that tell us? 7 and 5 is a very interesting number. It will add some degree of both. That's it. Don't worry, okay? Don't worry. It's going to add a degree of chaos, but also a degree of incredible insight and perhaps groundbreaking genius ideas, solutions. So that's kind of what makes this year specifically more interesting. It's definitely not going to be a boring year. It's going to be, I guess, a little bit of a roller coaster ride, so we have to buckle up a bit and get ready, but we're going to find many, many interesting solutions. I believe that there are going to be a lot of unpredictable events leading to very new ideas. Some of them may be really revolutionary and really benefiting us as a whole, as a collective. Some of them might be really messy. It may be also that our reaction to events, remember, we talked about also the way we are going to feel as a collective, that our reaction to events is going to be pretty messy. It might cause a lot of confusion. This year, there's a high probability that this year is going to cause quite a lot of confusion for people. I mean, we've already seen how much division there is with regards to, politics and the pandemic and so on, even regarding like our world climate crisis and so on. The opinions are so split. So because we're moving this year, and the decisions that are going to be taken politically, environmentally, medically, whatever, are not necessarily going to be agreeable on all sides, I believe it's going to cause the 7-5 energy, which is a lot of confusion, but also a lot of opportunity. Chaos is an energy that is eventually very creative. So this is kind of the energetic environment we're entering this year. A lot of interesting solutions, a lot of breakthroughs can come through, a lot of innovative ideas can come through, but really groundbreaking ideas. So this year, I believe, if you ask me, it's really pivotal for our future. I believe that this year is a key for our future. That's my take on this year. I believe that we're going to find, through our dynamism, through our experimentation, and through the positive side of the chaos, the creative, the genius side of the chaos, as a collective, we are going to step into new solutions, into new doorways, into new pathways and portals for a better future. Is it going to be messy? Probably yes. Is it going to be confusing? Probably yes. Is it also going to be exhilarating? I assume it will. So that's kind of what I want to add here. And the interesting thing about number 7, and what I find so beautiful, is that the solutions that we're trying to find with the number 5 energy, remember I said we're trying to find out solutions, try out new things, experiment. We're trying to find out solutions for fundamental problems. That's the beautiful thing about 7. 7 deals with fundamentals, with the core issues. And so I believe that this year we're going to put a lot of emphasis on finding solutions, number 5, for core issues, number 7. I'm excited about it. The last part of the chart, the numerology reading that I want to talk about, is using the arrows of Pythagoras. It's a less known method for many numerologists, or many of you who are interested in numerology, but nonetheless, it's a wonderful way of interpreting events, energies, and taking a further look, or receiving further information about the personal year. So I'm going to quickly look at that. I'm not going to enter into the details of this because it's a different, more sophisticated, or just a different point of approaching the numerology chart. But what you see here is me positioning the numbers of 2021 and the result of a global year of number 5 in the chart. So you have here the 1 of the 2021, the 2020, right? The 2 and the 2, and the end result of 5. 0 does not enter the chart, only all the numbers from 1 to 9. So every number positioned here has a certain meaning. I'm just going to quickly add some kind of information for you to think of, some food for thought. It's interesting. Remember that the year that we're in, right, is the year number 5. I'm just going to kind of quickly draw it right here, circle it. But we also have 5 appearing as a result in the arrows of Pythagoras. And the 5 here has a slightly different meaning from the general 5 that we know, but together, having a normal 5 universal year and a 5 in the center, the very center of the arrows of Pythagoras, we're getting here the message that there's going to be a lot of fiery energy, passionate energy, dynamism, and involvement. What that means, and what I want to kind of take from that and give you as a message in this video, is that there's something life-affirming. There's like a life-affirming energy coming this year. A number 5 energy, a fire of life, which means that we are in a certain point where we want to find solutions to better our life and our connection with this life. I believe that this means we're going to try to take actual meaningful steps towards healing ourselves. That's my take on that. I think that we're going to try to find ways to find actual pathways to heal our earth, heal ourselves as humanity. Okay, and I'm not talking here about the pandemic. If you watch this video and you think, oh, he's talking about like the pandemic or something, the pandemic is just a symptom. I'm talking about healing ourselves as humanity and our relationship with this earth, with this place, with this planet, and with ourselves as humanity. I believe we have more investment this year. I believe we're gonna feel more invested in trying to find ways to heal our connection with life, our connection with the love of this place. And to me, that's good news. So this extra 5 energy coming from the arrows of Pythagoras, adding to the 5 that's already there from the 2021 numbers. So I think that this kind of sums up most of the events and energies of 2021. Okay, my friend, so I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you some food for thought, shows you a little bit more about the world of numerology and how it can give you this perspective, like a GPS to work with every year and align yourself with it so you can just enjoy the events and see them in context. And when you see things in context, it frees you. You can accept it, relax into it, and work with it. Having said that, if you want to go deeper into numerology and be able to practice it yourself, understand your own numbers, what's going on within you, what's your own destiny, what are your own potentials, what are the changing seasons in your personal life, and even to be able to know those of your friends, family, loved ones, then check out my self-study numerology course. You'll find the link below the video. I will see you in the next videos.